Sisters from Trust TV, Adeni G. Shafe. Our ladies there under 17 Flamingos already as over there in Santo Domingo, where they want to play in the World Cup for women under 17 World Cup coming up, and right now being hosted by Dominican Republic. They played a friendly match yesterday against Mexico and actually ended 1-1. That's a draw between Nigeria and Mexico, where our ladies actually fought hard. They were able to score first, courtesy of Farida Abu-Karim, who scored for Nigeria in the 33rd minute rather, before Mexicans actually put one back to make it 1-1. Well, at least starting on a very good note for our ladies there ahead of the World Cup that is starting at Dominican Republic. Flamingos of Nigeria, FIFA Under 17 World Cup starting from 16th of this month, and they want to see how they will do well there. Just to use that at least to usher you in to the sporting moment that we have for you on the show for this hour. Big one for Nigerians. The Super Eagles will also be playing this weekend against Libya. It's actually a 2-in-1 kind of game. They have to play home and away, and they'll be facing them on Friday and also on Tuesday in Benghazi. First one will be coming up over there in Uyo at Gospel Pabio Stadium. Eagles are ready, according to the coach, even though we know that some of them are yet to arrive, but some started arriving. Just like yesterday, we had two goalkeepers, Amas Obasoge, and also the man of the moment, the number one goalkeeper of Eagles, who also was able to make it. Sterling Wabali has actually arrived in Uyo. All these put together on the show, we'll be looking at Manchester City versus Premier League, what actually transpired. Well, all that together. But right now, let's start on the first story we're looking at. AFCON qualifier. We are not ready for Nigeria. According to Libya, the Liberian coach Hadiji is saying, well, they are not ready to play against Nigeria. Although they are, whether they like it or not, they must play. Some people are saying this is a mind game. We are not going to be swayed by this particular statement coming from the coach of the Libyan team. We are not ready for Nigeria. Someone said, that's your own cup of tea. Eagles are battle ready for this. Even though there is no Osimhen, we have other players who are also equal to the task to see how they would do well for Nigeria. Auguste Guavo actually invited some players, and they are ready for these particular two-legged games that will be coming up this weekend there. Well, right now, we just have to quickly turn to our guest in the studio. Issue our suspect, as I call him, every Tuesday is always here to talk sport with me on the show. Hello, Ale Peter is here. Good to have you.
Good morning, Adeni. It's my pleasure being here. Thanks for having me. As regards the first story, I think what they need to do is just to ask CAF for a walkover.
Seriously?
No, just a walkover. If they know they are not ready and they are not prepared for Super Eagles, and they arrived yesterday also, and they are not ready, and they are ready in the country to play on Friday. Like you said, it's a mind game. It is a mind game. And currently right now, they need the match against Super Eagles to motivate themselves, to give themselves the hope of maybe they will qualify for the AFCON coming up in Morocco next year. And it's going to be a battle between the top team and the bottom team. Currently, we are topping the group while they are lying fallow. So I think a point will look like a win for them. And you know, the Super Eagles at times, you can't really predict what can come out of them. But this is a match that we need to win. Convince, it's not something that we should manage to win. It should be more like a flawless victory. You know, if you are playing PS, there's something they call flawless victory. That means you beat your opponent, you defeat your opponent without your opponent touching you. So that is what we are looking out for. We're looking to see a good football. We're looking to see good style of play. We are looking to see how we can win both home and away. Because currently we're having 4 points. So if we can win both home and away, which is 6 points, making 10 points, automatically we've qualified for the Nations Cup. So we can now channel our energy towards the main deal, which is coming up in March next year. I'm talking about the qualifier for the World Cup. So as far as I'm concerned, we shouldn't allow them to play the mind games that they are not ready. They are not ready. They left Libya
and came to Nigeria.
They are not ready. They've been training. They are not ready. The coach also, in that interview, he made a statement that a draw will be enough for them. They are not ready. No, if they are not ready, they should just talk to CAF. Let them just award them
We are not playing.
They are not playing. Walkover 4-5 will be okay with it. So we shouldn't take it for granted. We shouldn't look at because of what they said that they are not ready for it. Then we too will not be complacent. We now think that we've won the match before the match. No, not at all. This is an avenue for us to beat them as much as possible. Let's see good football this time around, not kick and follow that I've been seeing. And Austin Eguavoen, I'll give it to him. He's playing entertainment football. If you look at all his matches, even when he took us to the World Cup also, he's not that defensive-minded, even though he was a defender when he was in Super Eagles as the skipper then. But right now, his own style of play is more of let's give, because he knows what the Nigerian wants. What he wants to see a good style of play. So I think we are really getting there with patience. Sincerely, we can really get there. So the match on Friday would be a very good one to watch and to see what the Super Eagles will come up with, especially when we are not having our main talisman in respect of Victor Osimhen, but we have others that can do the job.
Well, as we talk about Super Eagles there, well, right now we know that the Libyans are trying to play mind games. We know how the North African always play some antics when it comes to football development or football achievement. But right now, Eagles are ready. They've started arriving. Like I said earlier, Amaso Basoge, who right now playing his trade outside Nigeria, and also Stanley Wabali, they are around, and the coaches are also there right now to see how they will actually gather the entire team in the camp ahead of these crucial matches coming up between Nigeria and Libya. Friday and Tuesday, well, back-to-back, they travel away to Benghazi to play the second leg after the first leg over there at the Gospel Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. As we talk about that, let's also digress to our own league, because we know that during the match day 5, a lot of expectations, and really the teams tried their best. And now we have the story, MPFL match day 5. Clubs testify of good officiating, one same for away games. That's the story we're looking at right now. Well, we know that it's getting better in the MPFL. A lot of clubs are really happy for the fact that officiating is getting much more better than what we used to see. So right now, the home teams are testifying that yes, we saw good officiating. Now we want to see more in an away games, and really it's getting much more better.
Yeah, a good one, and I think what we're asking for is more. Not that since they started the league on 31st of August, this year we've not seen exceptional performance from the officiating and referee this time around. I think week 3 or week 4, we saw about 4 away teams winning their matches. That is unprecedented in the history of Nigerian Premier Football League. If you are playing home, it's as good as if you have gotten the 3 points. So what the judge need right now is to try as much as possible. I'm talking about the NFF, to try as much as possible to assist the league with technology, because you cannot rule out the vital importance of the technology, especially the use of VAR. We cannot continue to do the physical trial. Now they are doing very well, but it gets to a stage that it will be tested up, and you need technology to back up your claim. So it's good to see that confidence is returning back to the MPFL, unlike what we used to have before. Now, if the teams, all the club owners, they have the confidence in the management of the MPFL, if they have confidence in the referees, in the officiating officials, then with the supporters also, the sport lovers also, from there we said, oh, okay, let me go to the field and watch a good football, because now it's not about, okay, I'm going, we are going to lose or we are going to win. So that is what I think we need to clamor for now, to aid and to support them with more technology. Then that confidence should now move from the officiating to the supporters. What do we need? We need security. Security in the sense that if I go to watch match, for example, if Kano Pillars and El Kaneme, they are playing in Kano, the supporters of El Kaneme, they should be confident that they trust the security apparatus, that they will go to Kano, they can win, and nothing will happen to them, nothing will happen to their player. But this is different from good officiating. So they are two different things this time around. So for the officiating, they are doing very well. In terms of giving the supporter the confidence to go out there, I think that also should be the next step. Then the issue of media awareness, we need to also do that one to brand our own local league. Look at last week, our fantastic captain,
You were just seeing the goal.
Ahmed Musa.
Ahmed Musa. Those are the goals he scored.
He came back, he played, and he scored
a brace.
2 goals. So that is what we are looking out for. Some of our ex-international that they've retired, they come back home. A lot of people will go to the stadium not because not because they want to see Kano players playing, but because they want to see Ahmed Musa playing again. And he played and he scored also. So I think this is what we need to start looking into to see how to promote our domestic league, which I think will be very, very important for us to do.
And to also add to what you were saying, they have 2 Super Eagles players. Shehu Abdullahi also back to Kano Pillars. Ahmed Musa is also there. We're talking about the MPFL. If you're just joining us on the show 360 Sport, where we bring to you all the happening in the world of sport, especially focusing on Nigerian sport development. And now MPFL, well, is really getting better, officiating away and home games. We are seeing results coming naturally without being at least induced by any officiating from the referees. But right now it's getting better. We just hope that it will be sustained, and we hope for more. Well, if you look at how the table is after an outstanding match that was played yesterday, Enyimba right now they are second on the log and ahead of Remo Stars, who were formerly to match day 4. Remo Stars was top there, but now they are standing tall, 12 points alongside Enyimba, and you have Rivers United who are standing top there with 13 points. And Finidi George is doing the business. So as we speak, we have 3 ex-Super Eagles players. Amuneke with Atlant FC. We have Lobi Stars now. Amokachi is there, the bull. And we have Rivers United having Finidi George. What a league this year.
And also it's interesting to see both Daniel Amokachi and his counterpart, that's Amuneke, and fighting for 16 and 17 position with 4 points.
Seriously.
Each. And you can see what Finidi George is doing with Rivers United, 13 points. So that means what we need to do is, most of these are our ex-international, as we are seeing them coming back to play in the local league to retire, to hang their boot. Probably that's where they started their football career from. They come back to give it back to the community, to the society. Then after that, they should equip themselves with enough coaching, training, skills and certificates so that they can take up all these coaching jobs that we have available in the country. We have 3 out of 20. Maybe by next year we should have up to 10. Once we get to that level that we have 10, 15 ex-Super Eagles that understand, drink, sleep, football, then we are talking about taking a coach for Flying Eagles, for Super Eagles, for Golden Eagles. You don't need to be going outside to look for who can do it for us. We already have people that can do it for us internally. So I think this is a very good development that we need to continue to encourage until we get there. We have the human resources in this country. Take it or leave it from me. We don't need to go out there to look for anything. Whatever we need, what we just need is that conducive environment for everybody to operate. So a very good one for Finidi George, telling them and showing them that I'm still your boss. And let's see what Daniel Amokachi, who has already done it before with Nasarawa United, do a few years ago. Then also Amuneke, with his expertise outside the country, coming back to the country again. So it's going to be a very, a tight one between 3 of them. 4 points to 13 points is not that much. Who tells you that River United will not lose their next 2-3 matches, and the likes of Amuneke and Amokachi? I'm even waiting for the day when Atlant, Lobi Star or Rivers United will meet. Let's see the tactical display of knowledge and skills of who understand the game better. So it's going to be very interesting the way we are going in terms of...
Although Finidi George actually had one against Atlant. They defeated Atlant. And right now it's getting better when it comes to MPFL. 3 ex-Super Eagles players, Finidi George, Amokachi and also Amuneke, all gunning for their teams. They Atlant, Rivers United, and not forgetting the fact that they are all trying to see how they can add more points. Well, right now 2 coaches have been out. They've been sacked from, or maybe relieved, let me use that word, from the MPFL. Curiosity, the coach is gone, and also Lobi Stars, Agabe rather, is also gone. Now talking about Lobi Stars, where they brought in Daniel Amokachi. Well, just match day 5. How many matches to go? A lot of matches, 33 more matches, and 2 coaches are already out. Well, how many coaches have we seen that will be out from the MPFL this season? The same thing applicable to Manchester, to Premier League. Let me mention Manchester United, for goodness sake. But seriously, when it comes to football, they always actually bear all the, either the good, the bad, the ugly of whatever happened with their clubs. Coaches, it's not easy being a coach at all. It's not easy. We are really sitting on a time bomb. It's either a good way or a bad way. But right now, as I said earlier, 2 coaches, Ikorodu City and also Lobby Stars, right, they've gotten, one of them has gotten a new coach, Amokachi is there, and they continue to at least do well in their games. Well, we're talking about the MPFL, but this time around, let's move away from Nigeria and talk about that's CAF competitions. CAFCC rather, CAF Confederations Cup. Enyimba battles Zamalek and Masry in group of death. That's coming up there. We're looking at that story. Well, that has to do with Enyimba. Enyimba right now be playing against northern teams, Zamalek of Egypt, Al Masry. That's a group of death, really. A tough one. We know how they do everything possible to make sure they win their games for the North Africa. Is it Libya, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco? They are not joking with the business of sport or rather football at all. Now, let's look at start from CAF Champions League fixtures, the draw rather that was made yesterday. You look at the group stage draw that was done by CAF yesterday in Group A. You have TP Mazembe, the team that never gives up winning the competition. They are the Real Madrid of CAF competition in Africa. Young Africans of Tanzania, Al Hilal, you have them there of Sudan, MC Olga of Algeria. In Group B is Mamelodi Sundowns South Africa, Raja Casablanca of Morocco, AS FAR Club of Morocco, you have AS Maniema Union, while in Group C is Al Ali of Egypt, Belouizdad, Orlando Pirates South Africa, Stade Abidjan of that's Côte d'Ivoire. In Group D is ES Tunis, that's Etoile du Sahel. You have Pyramids of Egypt, Sagrada Esperanca, and that's another team, Joliba SD Bamako from Mali. Those are the teams playing in the CAF Champions League group stage. This is a big one because there is no Nigerian team. In fact, if we check West Africa there, maybe 1 or 2, Joliba Bamako, Stade Abidjan, and really it's something to worry about. West African football is somehow getting lower and lower.
I think we should recount that statement. We did not qualify to be there.
So I'm trying to...
Not that, no Nigerian there. So
I said West Africa. Even in West Africa, we only have 2.
It's not a selection process. It's a process that you have to get by,
play well enough
by
to
qualification.
Make it.
So the truth is, we have to do a lot to rejuvenate sports, especially the game of football in West Africa, especially in Nigeria. If you look at the Northern Africa, look how many clubs, from the 16 clubs we have there, we have almost 10 coming from the North Africa. So that shows that they are already in the race to win the competition in one way or the other. So that's why for the past 15 years, they've been winning it. Either it goes to Algeria, Morocco, Egypt.
It's only maybe TP Mazembe and Mamelodi Sundowns that will garnish it at the middle.
And they only come in maybe after 3 or 4 years. But consecutively, you see the Northern African winning it. You know the reason why? They prepared for it. They see it as a business. Go to their stadium when they are playing home matches. You would think they are playing an international matches. They will all go out there. The facility, the infrastructure is there. And what do? They have this private partnership with a lot of private partnership and ownership that they do over there. That is what we've been clamoring to do in this country. Let's even be the pride of West Africa. Let's be the pride of West Africa when it comes to the intercontinental football competition. We are not there. We are not there because we didn't qualify. We didn't qualify because we didn't do the right thing. We didn't do the right thing because we didn't put in the right structure to be there. We have people that can do this. So that's what we need to do. We still need to go back to the grassroots. We have a lot of players that can do it. We will not continue to make reference to His Excellency Aji Uzokalu, what he did with Enyimba. Also His Excellency and Wike, the current FCT minister, what he did with Rivers United when they got to the quarterfinal, when he was the governor. He spent a lot of resources. So it takes a sport-loving governor to really invest a lot in sport. Not only because you are taking money from the state government, you can even take your personal money because of the passion that you have for it. So I think that is what we really need to do. We need to undo the game of football that has about 3.2 billion followers in the world. We need to take it serious. When we take it serious, it will contribute to our economy. I think that's what we really need to do.
Well, we just need to take sports seriously, because, like I always say, it's business. It's a real business. A lot of people still take it with levity, but that particular sector gets a lot of activities that makes a country to be running well. All right, now let's look at the second tier of our CAF competition. That's CAF Confederation now, where Enyimba will be playing. Well, in Group A, Simba FC of Tanzania, CB Safien, Constantine, Bravo the Marquis. In Group B, RS Bakane, Sade Malian of Mali, Stellenbosch of South Africa, Ludensol. In Group C is USM Olga, ASEC Mimosa of Cote d'Ivoire, AST Giraffe of Rapa United. You have Zamalek, Masry, Enyimba, and Black Bulls. Those are the teams that will be playing in the group stage draw for the CAF Confederation, where Enyimba will be playing against Zamalek, against Masry. Those are really a group of death, just so that they will get their acts together and make us proud. That's the only team left from Nigeria still playing in the CAF Interclub competition. To let you have a feel of what's happening concerning that there. Well, right now, we have to move away from Africa, as we're actually ascending now from Nigeria to Africa. Then let's go to Europe. A big one happened yesterday over there in Europe between Manchester City and Premier League. You know, they have a lot of issues concerning rules and regulations. And right now we look at that story. Associated party transaction rules. Both sides can claim victory. Man City legal case against Premier League. Man City actually sue Premier League, and that ruling was made yesterday. But right now, let's quickly look at it before our guest join us from Bristol in UK will be at least unveiled. Right now, let's look at what are the associated party transaction rules. Let's look at it quickly. The Premier League's rules require any club, its players, manager, or any senior official to run dealings with associated parties past them. Associated parties are companies or people who have a significant interest in the relevant club financially or otherwise. The Premier League's board then reviews each transaction to assess whether it believes they represent a fair market value. The league says the rule helps to build fairness across the division by ending a reliance on enhanced commercial revenues linked to the club's ownership. What are the associated party transaction rules? That's number one. Then let's look at who won the legal case between the two parties now. Man City can claim victory in the sense that they have been proved right. Generally speaking, the rules have been found to be unlawful. On the other side, the Premier League, we also say that these are two very narrow elements of the rules. Yasin Patel, a barrister practicing sports law at Church Court Chambers, said, call it a stalemate if you want. Ultimately, both parties will walk away from here thinking they've got a bit of a bloody nose. The Premier League have to look back at the changes of the rules in February they had incorporated in the first place to try to stop things like what has been happening in terms of sponsorship deals. Looking at that, well, Manchester City would have been hoping that ultimately they could force a few more victories, but in a way it's not gone as far as that. The Premier League won't be completely disgruntled, and Manchester City will feel quite pleased with the fact that they've got some victories. Well, just so let's have at least a picture of what we want to talk about right now. Well, I see yesterday, I saw some Man City fans jubilating after they actually issued their own statement, but really, it's not uhuru yet, because after this, the 115 cases there waiting for them. But concerning this issue of third party and all the deals associated with it, let's quickly turn to Olawale Peter then before we join another Peter in Bristol. Alex Peter is waiting there, but hold on, Alex Peter. Let's start with Olawale Peter.
Okay, let me pick it from the last statement. The Manchester City fan, they should not celebrate yet because the infraction of 115 beaches is still in the cooler waiting for them. So this has nothing entirely to do with the 115. This has to do with, if you look at the statement that you even read, the summary is that the Premier League, they want all dealings to pass through them. Everything, sponsorship, they want everything to pass through them. However, they are saying if you have a third party, people that invested as shareholders, that they are not the direct owners, that they want to do sponsorship, we don't need to pass through you. And this case has nothing to do with Manchester City. It was a Newcastle case that they took upon themselves and sued the Premier League because the Saudi billionaires also, when they took over, when they bought Newcastle, they said, no, what we need to do right now is we have people that are third parties that want to invest with us. So the sponsorship and the dealings, we don't need to bring it out to the Premier League. And the Premier League said, no, you have to show us everything, because they are trying to avoid a situation whereby you will not be declaring each profit without them knowing the nitty-gritty of where the money comes from. So if you look at it, like the barrister said, it's a win-win situation for both of them, but they still have to go back to the February case and to really pinpoint what needs to be done and what needs not to be done. So I think it's a very good one. We have some clubs that supported the Premier League. We have some that supported the Manchester City. In fact, the likes of Arsenal and Co., they went as a witness against the Manchester City. Liverpool. We have the like of Chelsea, Newcastle and Co. that stood with Manchester City. So it's like a divided house, which I think with this judgment and the interpretation will really shed more light to what is expected of them to do. Okay, now let's link up with Alex Peter. Alex Peter, at least you've been listening to what we're saying concerning the Man City case against Premier League. What's the mood like in England right now?
It's very interesting. First of all, pleasure to see you again, Edenye, and Peter. It's always good to see you. And in England right now, it's echoing more or less what Peter said. You know, it's important to see that this is independent of the 115 charges, and City, and as you mentioned, that both sides are celebrating with it at the moment, both celebrating the outcome of the verdict. And I think in City's case, they're celebrating because this verdict has ramifications for their 115 charges. With the APT rules, obviously, as Peter mentioned, the Premier League, they want everything to go through them. So with sponsorships, with these third parties, Newcastle was the greatest example of it, obviously, with their Saudi consortium takeover. And for the outcome of the 115 charges now, it's up in the air as it was before. Nobody really knows what to expect, but this verdict, it's definitely encouraging for City's side.
Well, seriously, a big one there between Manchester City and Premier League, and also not forgetting the fact that the case of 115 breach is still there, and it's a big fight for Manchester City, if you want to agree with me. Although I don't want to go towards your club, Manchester United, I don't want to ask you what is happening to your club, but I know that my United fans are not having a swell time right now. Or are you having one?
Well, the last time I was on the show, it was prior to the Porto game, wasn't it? And yeah, I think the feelings on Ten Hag are definitely the same at the moment. Lots of people want him out. They obviously had the shareholders meeting on Tuesday or today, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they decide to do from it. I still stand by keep Ten Hag in place on the basis of there's no greater option, but it's getting dire now. I mean, the 0-0 against Aston Villa was really just discouraging. There wasn't too much to be happy about, and where United go from here will be interesting. But yeah, we definitely are hoping for City's case to not go in favour of them. It's probably the only way we'll beat them at the moment.
But to some extent, I'm sure some Man United fans will be expecting Man City to actually be in a bad book concerning this particular ruling of yesterday. A lot of Man United fans I'm talking about now, about City stands on that particular ruling about the APT. So right now, as a Man United fan, where would you dwell? Are you going with the Premier League or you are with Man City?
For this specific case, I think it kind of spells itself out. Throughout the document, you have to go through about 160 pages until you get to the findings page. And I think in the findings page is quite conclusive, as you see that the Premier League mention that they recognise that there has been errors in their system, and they will now go about still using the same APT rules, but with these considerations in place for the quote-unquote unlawful transactions we saw through the sponsorships with maybe clubs like Newcastle.
Well, let's see how this particular issue with Man City will actually end up. But it's getting better for them. At least this is one leg out. They're still waiting for the second one. That 115 breaches, let's see, maybe they'll be saved by God of football there. But right now, talking about football, there is a particular legend who has done well for himself when it comes to football. His name is Iniesta. Iniesta has quite quit playing football professionally, And let's look at that story. Andre Iniesta announces retirement from professional football after playing for 22 years. He's 40 now. He started like a joke, and now the man has done it for himself. Let's quickly look at his career. Andre Iniesta career summary. There, before we allow both Peters to talk about it. Andre Iniesta career summary. He actually won World FIFA World Cup in 2010, 2 UEFA European Championship 2008 and 2012, and he also have 4 UEFA Champions League titles, Barcelona, 9 La Liga titles, also with the same team, 3 FIFA Club World Cups, 3 UEFA Super Cup, 6 Copa del Rey titles, Super Copa de Estana titles, 1 J-League, that is in Japan, 1 Emperor's Cup, and 1 Japanese Super Cup with Vissel Kobe. Iniesta played for 3 clubs, Barcelona, Vissel Kobe in Japan, and Emirates Club in the United Arab Emirates. At Barcelona, he made 442 league appearances and scored 35 goals between 2002 and 2018. His time in Japan saw him contribute 21 goals in 114 appearances for Vissel Kobe. From 2018 to 2023 at Emirates Club, he made 20 appearances, scored 5 goals. Internationally, Iniesta played 131 times for Spain, scoring 13 goals. Iniesta famously netted the winning goal in 2010 FIFA World Cup final, securing Spain's first World Cup title. He was also instrumental in Spain's back-to-back European Championship triumphs in 2008 and 2012. Alex Peter, one of the legends when it comes to football, Andre Iniesta, calling it quit right now with football, really. He has been a roller coaster journey for the Spaniard. What can you say about Andre Iniesta?
Yeah, magnificent player. You know, as you've just gone through his list of achievements.
Seems Alex is cooked up there. We'll be expecting him to join us back. Let's turn to another Peter now. Peter 1, Peter 2. So, Olale Peter is here. We're asking Alex Peter concerning Andre Iniesta from your own view.
Okay, an exceptional player, and it will take another decade, if not decades, to get a player like Iniesta. It's not only when you score or you're a goal scorer that is very important as a player. It's goal. From over 144 times he played for the Spanish team, he scored only 13 goals. And one of the goals that he scored will never be forgotten against Netherlands at the South African 2010 World Cup. We saw what he did a 9-minute goal. He won Spain their first ever World Cup. Then also his contribution to the Spain back-to-back winning of UEFA in 2008 and 2012 can never be forgotten. The pairing of Iniesta and Xavi in the midfield of Barcelona that won them 4 Champions League, 9 La Liga trophy and 7 Copa del Rey will never be forgotten. To see a player like this that started at the age of 18 and retired at the age of 40, so that means he played active football for 22 good years. Operation Catch Them Young. It's going to be very difficult to find the generations of the likes of Iniesta, the likes of Xavi, and the likes. So I think he did the right thing by calling it quits. He has won everything that a player dreamt of. In fact, in 2009, he also won the European Footballer of the Year. The only thing left for him to win was the Ballon d'Or, and you know it will be very difficult for you to do that during the era of Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. It's so unfortunate that he has won almost everything that other players wants to emulate or wants to win. So we say kudos to him for what he has achieved for the game of football.
Yes, that's from your, at least the Peters in the studio. Let's get to hear from the Peters from Bristol. Well, you were talking about your own view concerning Andre Iniesta. Let's have it, Alex.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. Just continuing with him perfectly. You can wax lyrical about a player like Iniesta, who just his career again has showed dominance for the midfield, the partnership with Xavi, which we saw throughout the years in Barcelona, and then getting the goal in the World Cup, as he mentioned, 10 goals for Spain, and one of them being one of the most important in Spanish football in history. And yeah, I think his ability as an athlete is underrated as well. As you mentioned, playing football from 18, La Masia coming through Barcelona Academy, and then in the same breath, still playing his trade in Vissel Kobe with Japan, then going to UAE as well. So his ability as a footballer to keep going, especially in such a physically taxing position as a midfielder, he has just shown that he is truly one of the greatest Spanish midfielders and all time.
Okay, one of the greatest. And really, Alex, you look at, there are some players, when they play professionally, it's always very difficult to get someone back in that mode. Iconic football players. I can go on with Zinedine Zidane. We've seen a lot of them for what they have done. Johan Cruyff, you can't take anything from the likes of Frank Beckenbauer, and also Paul Gascoigne. All of them are in that particular mode of players. Xavi alongside him, what they did for Spain and Barcelona, alongside Messi. You just have to appreciate the way they play football. In fact, they really deserve to win Ballon d'Or if they have the chance there, despite the fact that Messi and Ronaldo were at the forefront. But Iniesta and Xavi, outstanding players in their own prime, and they deserve all the accolades they can get when they are playing. But like I was saying, there are some iconic players that when they are immediately they are leaving, it takes time before you can get the other players in that mode. All the names I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of other players like that, but these iconic players, it always take time before you get to see another one. In fact, since Maradona, then after Maradona, you had Lionel Messi. It's a big iconic time for them. Brazil, you have Pelé, and maybe another person you can look at is Ronaldo de Lima. That's another iconic player. And you look at Portugal, you want to look at, okay, who has done it? Ronaldo and their former star, who has also done it for England. You just think about one or two players, Bobby Charlton or thereabout. In Nigeria, we know iconic players like JJ Okocha. And just like, it's always very difficult to see another player. It takes time before it happens. And from the way I'm actually analyzing this, to you, Alex, you agree with me with that, right?
Yeah, beautifully put. And that's what the game coming that you've never seen before. Footballers normally play a part. Wayne Rooney, who just completely everything I knew about the game, the partnership he would have with players such as Ronaldo, Tevez, who all in their own right are these enigmatic personalities down to certain aspects of their play. Obviously, Ronaldo for, say, his discipline, Rooney for sometimes his hot-headedness, but definitely his ability to transfer that into a power. Yeah, I mean, you look at his goal against Newcastle when he was arguing with the referee. These players just definitely transcend the game, and I think Iniesta is one of the greatest examples of that. Going on as long as he did in his career, winning everything you could imagine. The only reason that he didn't get that Ballon d'Or was when you play behind Ronaldo and Messi, it's going to be a tough ask for anybody. So a lot of players would have missed that honour, but so many honours throughout his career, which just show how great a player he truly was.
Big one there, and a very, very cool-headed player. I saw Lawali Peters nodding to when you were talking. It seems he wants to actually add a little pinch of salt.
No, and just to agree with him, the cool-headed player is a player that both on the pitch and off the pitch, he doesn't have any distraction or having any issue that has to do with fighting with the player, fighting with the referee, or having an issue that's bother to his image. So I think he has done very well, and it's a role model to a lot of players, and a lot of players who really wants to be in his shoe. And concerning the issue of the succession, I think it is something that is always very difficult to fill in. Take it or leave it, because you can't get another player in that particular style and shape. You can get near to it. Now look at Barcelona. Since the era of the like of Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, Busquets, Puyol, they've been trying and struggling to rebuild again what they had before, just like the Italian team. Also, if you look at the Italian team also, it's normally taking them like a 4 years time before they can rebuild from what they had before. So it's something that most countries and clubs, they have to start doing right now. And the problem we are having right now with most of the clubs, they do not concentrate on their academic like they used to before. What they do now is they look for a man-made team, a man-made players, and bring them all together to form a team, unlike what we used to have before. That's why it will be very difficult to have that. Iniesta, he played with Barcelona for how many years? almost 19 years of his 22 career that he played football. So that means he dreams, he sleeps, and he has been playing and partnering with Xavi and Masry. So without them running, he knows where to put the pass. So that's why we are talking about consistency. So that is what I think we need to do to get a replacement for most of these players. Not that we can't find it, but the dynamic has really changed now. People are looking out for money. They're not looking out for Lamine Yamal that is running in Barcelona right now. If you see a club that's ready to pay 150 or 200 million pounds for him, and look at what Barcelona is going through financially currently, they may be tempted to sell him. So that is what I think is really killing the succession plan. Not that they don't have it in place.
Okay, right now, well, for Andre Iniesta, a lot of Spanish football lovers will always see him as a legend. He's iconic when it comes to playing football, and he really did well for Barcelona and every other team he played in. But right now, let's talk about the player who's also doing well right now for Aston Villa, the Villa Park. His name is John Duran. Duran has been in superlative form since joining that team, and right now they have to offer him a new long-term deal at Aston Villa. That's a good work coming from both parties, his representative and also Aston Villa reps. They really did well by making sure they signed a new long-term deal. Well, Alex, you want to agree that John Duran's deal with Aston Villa is a good one, because now they've made it long-term, no longer a short one, so that he continues to bang him on goals for the Villa team.
Yeah, literally, I think he's my favourite player in world football right now. He's such an incredible player. 5 goals from the bench. Some of the most important goals as well. Obviously, the one against Bayern last week. And it's going to be interesting to see if Unai Emery gets to a stage where he does play both Watkins and Duran. It's getting questionable that they're not starting together. Obviously, his system doesn't necessarily allow for 2 strikers, but goals against Bayern, obviously the 30-yard strike against Everton, he definitely is getting to a stage now where he's becoming undeniable, and I believe he should be a starting player. But yeah, till 2030, it's a great start.
Okay, well, you are talking there, Peter. Let's at least digress a bit. Seems the network is now our friend today to some extent. But seriously, John Duran deserves whatever deal Aston Villa are giving him. From the bench, he has scored about 5 goals or plus, and you look at the player that comes on, and you can just label that he's going to score.
Okay, and I have a different opinion, honestly. And Duran is a player that he had the same potential like Cole Palmer, and he deserves to play 90 minutes, so that
not from the bench.
Not from the bench, so that his potential can be fully enhanced, not coming in 30 minutes for the 5 minutes. So I think.
What if the coach knows that he doesn't have that longevity?
So that is the reason why they have to take that confidence from Cole Palmer. He went to Pep Guardiola and told him that
I can do this.
I can do this. I want to play. I need regular playing time. And he said, no, you can't. He said, okay, if I can't, sell me, I need to go. And look at what he's doing right now. So that's the same thing that I saw in Duran also. A player that played 9 matches, scored 6 goals. From the 6 goals, he came on bench 5 times. He only start one of the 9 matches, and he has banked in 6 goals. From the 6 goals he scored, 2 of the goals gave Aston Villa 6 points against Everton and against West Ham. It was a winning goal he scored for them. Also against Bayern Munich, the last time both teams met was 42 years ago when Aston Villa won the Champions League, and they met again and they did the same thing again. Now, someone that is doing that within 30 minutes, do you think if he has more playing time, he won't be able to do that? And I think they did this because the likes of Chelsea and co, they want to come for him in January transfer. In fact, the last summer transfer, Chelsea placed about 80 million pounds. I mean, 50 million pounds on him, but they said no, we are going to sell him for 80 million. So the money they put on him is too much that scared a lot of clubs away. Even West Ham, they wanted to get him also. So what they did now is, this is a player that signed in 2022. Now his contract has been extended for additional. To me, I think it worth more than that. It worth more than him capture, except if the Aston Villa want to change their style and pattern of play to allow 2 strikers, but that's not what they are doing. So if they can allow both him and Watkins, to be up front there. No issue, no problem. Just look at how to work on your defense to change your style of play. But if that is not, I think it deserves a regular playing time. It shouldn't be a player that's coming 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and you perform magic. By the time he has done that now, all eyes are on him. So anytime he's coming in as a substitute, everybody will be looking out for him. They will mark him in and out. And if you can do that 3 or 4 consecutive matches without scoring, take it or leave it, the morale will go down, the price, the value will go down. So I think he deserves a very good playing time. In fact, if the likes of Alex Peter can talk to their board instead of this, their 8 matches, 5 goals that they are scoring in Manchester United, that makes them to look. If they can get a player like him, maybe he will save them and he will save the job of their coach.
The 10 man.
Yes, the 10
Alex,
man.
you can hear that jibe thrown at you by the Chelsea fan in the studio. That you should talk to Manchester United hierarchy to see how they can get John Durant. You want to go for that?
Love that. It would solve a lot of our problems, I feel. But yeah, everything that Peter said, honestly, fantastic striker. What a player. Only 20 years old as well. I think that's another thing to note. He's very young, so he's got, like you say, the same sort of potential as a player like Cole Palmer. But yeah, he needs to be starting. They need to find a way to play him and Watkins together, whichever way it may be. 2 strikers, 1 on the wing. It needs to happen.
Okay, right now let's quickly talk about unbeaten teams in the that's over here in Europe for this season. All the top 5 leagues we have in England: Arsenal, Manchester City. They've been able to hold their own. Lens, Monaco, and PSG in France. Bayern Munich, RB Leipzig in Germany. Juventus in Italy. Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid in the Spanish La Liga. These are teams that are yet to lose. Alex, someone is looking at me in the studio with one side eye. But seriously, I hope you are not also looking at me with that side eye. It's not my fault that Arsenal, Man City are the only unbeaten in England. Manchester United and Chelsea, with the mother is looking at me with a I see I should get a punch. Seriously, just to throw some banter before we wrap it up. Alex.
Yeah, there's there's 10 places between Man United and Chelsea at the moment, which just tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? But I think most interesting with Manchester City and Arsenal, even though they're both 2 of the unbeaten teams in the league, neither of them are top, and that's actually Arne Slot's Liverpool. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season, definitely.
Oh, seriously, at least you've seen the unbeaten teams there.
Okay, just like you said, it's not about you being unbeaten, it's about where you are currently right now. So like you said, Liverpool, they've been defeated, but they are still topping the league. Then if you look at it, Lens, for example, I don't know what they are doing there. They've played 7 matches, they won 2 and they drew 5. And you say they are unbeaten. Just how many points? So if you're talking about unbeaten, if you're talking about unbeaten, let's talk about real unbeaten, like Bayern Leverkusen, what they did last season, by winning 26 matches and they drew the remaining. Not the likes of Arsenal unbeaten by drawing about 16 matches and you won 26 matches and you say you are unbeaten. Unbeaten should be clearly defined as a real unbeaten, not all this panel beating unbeaten.
Alex, that was a big jive there. Anyway, I'm not a Gunners fan, so I will not take that to be a jiver to me. Well, for the way it is right now, Alex, our time is up. I want to appreciate your time for joining us from Bristol. Thank you so much. I say us well to the English people.
Thank you as always, guys. Pleasure to speak with you.
Okay, good word there. Hello, Peter. Also want to appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Adeniyi, for having me. And it's my pleasure being here. And my appeal to Alex, you should tell the hierarchy that Eric Ten Hag must stay. You shouldn't sack him for that place.
Anyway, Alex, get the hierarchy and talk to them so that Eric Ten Hag must stay. Like he said, I'm sure you don't want him to stay. A lot of mine that I want him to leave. Well, that's it on the show. 360 Sport on Trust TV, where sport is always business and fitness. I'm Adeniyi Ajisafe. Thank you for